All right, now I have here Postman. You can see welcome to Postman. So this is our launch pad or first page or first tab or whatever. And I do not have any internet connection because there was a freak storm and that hit some server, so now I don't have any internet. But I have a new mouse which I'm not using at the moment, but I'll soon start to use it. And yeah, so to use this thing, all we have to do is like open a new tab. It's really basic for the basic part. I'm not really sure of uh any other major stuff to do with it, but for the basic part, you just have to open a new tab or probably new there, and then we enter the URL endpoint, and then we can send whatever request that we want. If we want to do a get request, post, put, patch, delete, all of these requests. The most that we'll be using is get, post, put, patch, and delete. Not sure about the others. So these here will be these five will be like the most frequent ones that we'll use. All right, so here the URL that we'll be using is basically HTTP localhost port 8000 slash API and whatever is after this here. And we could have the version, but we didn't set it up, so we're not gonna use that at this moment. So I have the project open here, and I want to get the users that are in the database, and I haven't. Yeah, so I want to get the users that are in the database. So I have the CDN open here. Now, what I want to do is to create a resource, and that will return all the users or everything that is associated associated to that particular collection or table or whatever that we're going to pull in those from. So we want to say PHP artisan make, and we're going to make a resource, and this resource we're going to call it a user resource. So that's how we're going to. This is basically the naming convention that we're going to use. You don't have to use it, and this is correctly. That's it. And this should make a new folder in our HTTP in app HTTP. Should see a resource folder pop up there as soon as this thing is has run. I don't know why it's taking like forever, but that is pretty much that. So let's leave that for now. Now in the controllers in API, we want to have a. I'm gonna delete this for now because we're not going to do any virtual, and this is gonna get. I don't want it to be confusing. I'm gonna delete that for now, and in here then uh we can make that user controller. So that's what we're going to do next. But we just gotta wait until this thing is. I don't know why it's taking this long. Let's just wait. All right, there we go. So now you should see a resource folder, which this will basically just get all the information that is associated to a particular table that we're pulling this thing from. So that is pretty much that. The next thing that we want to do is actually pull that information, which we are going to do using a controller. So we're gonna say PHP artisan make controller, and this controller is going to be in slash into API folder slash and then we're going to give it a name. So this is going to be our user controller, and we could put this in a users folder or whatever, but I'm just gonna leave them all on the outside. For now, I'm not gonna do any major structures, so you can see it up here. But normally, I'll just put it in a folder by itself. So we have this. So the next thing that we need to do is basically to go ahead and create a public function. So we're gonna create a public function. Why is this not clicking? There we go. So we're gonna create a public function or method, whichever one you wanna call it. So we're gonna say public, which is the scope, and then we're gonna say index, which is our index function. This will return everything, and then I'm gonna use the Laravel syntax, which I think is kind of cool, so I'm just gonna work with it. Then we're gonna return a response. It's gonna be JSON. It's a response function of JSON, and then what we'll use is the user class. I think I may have to pull that in, or the user model I should say, in our class. So which basically will still have a class anyways, but so we're gonna have to pull that in by just saying use app models slash user. So we gotta pull that in, don't forget the semicolon. So I'm just gonna ensure that, and this is why I prefer to use the PHP Storm or whatever, because that would actually do that for me and stuff. So next that what I wanna do is to just paginate this thing. We could probably do a get, but I'm just gonna paginate it just in case we have like a lot of users. So we're gonna paginate it so we get like, I don't know, a pagination, whatever they give us, we'll work with it. And then I'm just gonna put a status of 200 if we got the information correctly. This is pretty much all we need to do to get this thing set up, to get the information here. The next thing that we want to do is to go into the APIs folder file, which should be at routes API, and then we can, I'm gonna leave this for now, but here we can just use a route resource, which I guess I prefer to do in a sense. A route resource, and this route resource will have, I think this is the name that we'll be using, so we just say users and then where this is located, which is going to be at API slash user. Sorry about that. This is going to be at API slash user controller, and that's about it. Alright, so we can save this now, and for some reason I don't think this is going to, I think there's somewhere that I need to fix, and that is in the up, where is it again? It's in the, I think it's providers, the service, the route service provider. So I need to push everything to this slash API, so that we can use the slash API right here. So that's why I wanna push everything there. So this is the namespace that we have at the moment. We won't be really using that, or won't be really needing, well, kind of, I guess. So look at it, slash controllers. So I guess what I could do is just do the thing from here, but the namespace, which is gonna be what they're gonna issue right here, where you can see the prefix is API. So I could test it, and then if it doesn't work, then I could always go back and change it. Let's go ahead and see that. So we're gonna do a get request on slash users, and we're gonna see what we'll get. Alright, so all I have to do is just click on send, and that should send the request. And we have a refused connection, and I'm pretty sure that's because we did not run the server. So let's go ahead and run the server. HPF serve. Alright, so we're having a bit of an issue here. Resource. Oh, my bad. My bad. This should not be resource. Let's get back over here. This should be route. My bad. That's so wrong. This should be route resource, and yeah, let's save that. And so alright, so this server is not running. Let's see if it now works, or if we did everything that we should have done correctly. Alright, so we have one. I think we have a syntax error here. Line 14 of user controller. So let's see what's line 14 of user controller. Let's see. Oh, forgot the ending semicolon. Let's run this again. Alright, so seems as if we have an issue. Line 9 on the user's controller, just the same. Controller. Extends controller. This is controller here. And it's saying it cannot find controller, not found in files. I think we may have to do a composer auto dump auto load. So I think we may have to do such. Or I'm gonna change the API. So I think that's the issue. So let me just change this to API. So now we are at app, HTTP, controllers, and API. Now we should be able to find, it should be able to find that this file now. So let's go ahead and run this one more time. Alright, so I think we're going to have to run that composer auto load, because we have, or we may have to delete some of these files. Alright, so now that that is finished, we see that we actually have an issue of the sort. So with this password confirm, so let's go over to all. I probably should just delete them, but okay, I'm gonna delete these that I'm not going to use. Verification control. So all of these that I'm not going to use, I'm going to delete them. Alright, so the files are deleted, but I think I may know what the issue is. So I think we may have to put API right here. Alright, so that's finished. So let's just run the artisan command again to serve this thing, and then we can move on from there, because I don't think this is the issue, but I don't know. Let's just see how this goes. So that's fine. Send the request. And still have an issue. API. So API. So you can see that we have this double API thing. So what I may need to do is I may be able to just get rid of this here and just go to just user, because it is already from here, from the route service provider, it's already going to APIs. I guess that's why it's giving that issue. So let's send this again. Alright, so still having an issue here. It's finding the correct file, but this is saying that this doesn't exist. So again, I think all we may have to do is on the user's controller, because that's where we have an issue. I'm just gonna put API slash and save, and let's see if that helps. But that's where it's saying I cannot find a class, but it should not be an issue. But let's see what we can do about that. Alright, so as I suspected, you can see that that was the issue, but and you can see that now we're getting a user from our database, which is the only user that we have, the admin at email.com. So now you can see that our API endpoint is working correctly, and we can move on to do some more stuff. But if you want us to just check this, I can just open uh our browser here, and there's two things that we can do to see this. I could actually just type this in the URL, and I'm gonna go to the database, and then you'll see that as well in the database. So that's pretty much how we'll make our API. I know that it was a little bit of a mess up and stuff, but I like to have a little bit of error from time to time, as it help it helps with the understanding, in my opinion, of what is being done. So, and how to fix certain issues. I think it really helps when we get errors, because all you have to do at times is just read the error, and you pretty much have it fixed. So if we go to the API, as it's pretty much public at this moment, you can see that we are getting the information here, and it should be the same information that we'll get from our database as well. All right, so at our management system database, if we click on that, at the users table, if we click on that, you can see that we have this admin admin at email.com. So you can see that now works. So we can go full-fledged. As you can see, it's the same thing. We can go full-fledged now on our API to move further. That is pretty much how we get connected to our database, and how we can test it via API, or we can test the API using Postman. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.